Welcome to Starlight Infinity Theater. We proudly present to you Secrets from the Rift, Episode 3, Quacking Under Pressure. Written by Jules Starn and Bonnie O'Toole and directed by Jules Starn.
I'm Thomas Pruitt of the Times-Gazette Tribune. I've been assisting my strange companions Dorian Watts and Victoria Bates for just over a month. One day, I arrived on a fine Saturday morning to find a note taped to the door of their house.
Oh, don't worry, don't get up, I'll get it.
Yes, Randis, you're the butler. You're supposed to get it.
Oh, morning, Thomas.
Good morning, Randis.
Dorian, Victoria! Thomas is here to see you! I gotcha.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Pruitt.
And you, Mr. Watts.
Thomas, how are you? It's been almost a week.
My boss, Mr. Carter, had to lay off some folks. That means the rest of us are swamped.
Well, the Rift's been wonderfully inactive this week, so you should be able to enjoy some rest and relaxation. Perhaps you could come to the opera with me and Dorian tonight.
I'd be delighted. Mr. Watts, I had no idea you were an opera man.
Both Miss Bates and myself are avid patrons of the operatic arts. Sitting in a chair in a dark room for hours while people sing very loudly from a safe distance is my idea of an evening well spent.
Thomas, what's that paper you've got in your hand?
It was taped to your door. Something about a construction notice.
Give me that. To the residents of 99 Willowbrook Lane, please be informed. Construction of a new automat is to begin in 1 week.
Oh, heavens, where?
It says right there across from us. It'll completely obstruct our view.
Who would even go and eat at an automat across from one single spooky castle on the edge of town?
I would, but that's beside the point. This is the work of an acquaintance of mine. Someone who can sway and influence the powers that be. In a world such as this, people of all types are present, and despite certain faults, there is good in all of them. Except one.
You don't mean?
Yes. Gloria, from the local council.
Dorian, we ate duck for dinner last night. Is there a chance its spirit may be haunting us now?
It's never happened in the past. But there still remains the mystery of what is currently quacking in the kitchen.
Shall we solve the mystery of what it is by entering the kitchen?
An excellent suggestion, Mr. Pruitt.
Hey, everyone, there's a very non-ghostly, very alive-looking duck in the kitchen.
Ah, so it's not a ghost.
But it is a duck.
Let's see it.
That's a duck, all right.
I've seen a few ducks in my day, and that's a duck.
How did it get inside?
Randis, did you let it in?
Nope, I only let in people when they knock.
What, anyone?
We'll talk about this later, Randis. We need to make a trip to City Hall. Care to join us, Mr. Pruitt? You can meet evil in a human form.
How can I refuse?
What about the duck?
How are you whispering so the duck can't hear you?
We'll deal with the duck situation once we're done with this local council situation. Come on, we'll take the car.
As we headed down to City Hall, I watched Dorian's hands on the steering wheel. His knuckles were turning white as his jaw clenched. Dorian's never been the most warm of individuals, but he's polite and civil to just about everyone. Whoever this Gloria was, she must be the only type of person Dorian can hate. We arrived at City Hall as Dorian burst into the council meeting.
Gloria votes!
Dorian Watts.
You're responsible for this villainy, aren't you?
Whatever do you mean? I'm responsible for a great many things. I can't keep track of every petty inconvenience that has the misfortune of gracing your path.
Hear me, Miss Volts. Anything that crosses my path, personified inconvenience or otherwise, does not meet misfortune by doing so. Now, will you please explain what you mean to do by approving an automat to be built right across from my house?
Excuse me, this is a council meeting. You can't just walk in without...
Quiet, Councilman.
My God, she's another Dorian.
I know. But every time I make that comparison, he insists I'm insulting him. I don't know how he doesn't see the similarity.
This is an outrage, Miss Volts.
An outrage to you, perhaps, Mr. Watts.
Your reasonings for this treachery are obvious. You wish to destroy everything I hold dear.
Much like you tried to destroy me by trying to get me removed from office in your slander campaign last year.
You deserved it, you vile slug.
As you villainous worm.
Yoo-hoo! If I could perhaps get a word in.
This meeting's already gone off the rails. The council recognizes your yoo-hoo.
Thank you, Councilman. Now, I'm sure Mr. Watts and Miss Volz can come to an arrangement. Miss Volz, members of the council, what do you say to coming to our place for tea this afternoon and discussing the matter?
You can't be serious.
I can so be serious, Dorian. Diplomacy is the only way to settle this. Perhaps if these fine members of the council can see the area itself, they might appreciate its secluded beauty and sway some of the less biased members of the council in favor of overturning its previous decision.
An excellent idea, Miss Bates.
The council agrees, Miss Bates.
Why are you making decisions for the rest? You know what? I don't care. At this point, I'm gonna go along with it. Meeting adjourned.
Excellent. I'll see you at 4, Dorian. I mean, Miss Volz.
Oh, for the last time, she's nothing like me.
Absolutely nothing similar about us whatsoever, Miss Bates.
How do you not see it?
He feels comfort in being unique, Thomas. Now come on, we've got to prepare the house.
But when we got to the house, we all had the feeling something was amiss.
Oh, hey, everyone! Remember that duck? Well, there's a whole lot more of them now.
Yes, quite.
They didn't come in through the door, did they?
Starlight Infinity Theater will return in just a moment after a word from our sponsor. With a child's imagination, anything can be a toy. Why not add color to their dreams with Miller's new lead paint for toys? We all know how children love to roughhouse. Miller's new lead paint for toys uses extra lead in its formula to keep its pigments intact no matter how much your child may drop, scrape, or gnaw on it with their tiny mouth. It's as safe as can be. I'll say the name again. Miller's new lead paint for toys. And now, back to Starlight Infinity Theater, Secrets from the Rift.
It had become obvious that these weren't ducks from our world. They were, instead, from an alternate dimension, of which large quantities of its population kept coming back through. We tried to send them back with a portable portal generator, but we only managed to get 5 of them. We then decided to try to pick them up and throw them into the large portal generator. Dorian stepped up to the challenge.
All right, there, you duck. Not going to hurt you. I'm just going to pick you up. No, I'm not trying to hurt you. Ow! Stop biting me.
Thomas, dear, when I pull the lever, you flip the breakers, understand?
Got it!
How are you biting me from this angle? Right, duck. Time to leave this Ow! No, you get in there!
Oh, we forgot the ducks can fly, didn't we?
That appears to be the case.
I just don't understand how there can be so many of them.
Thomas, darling, reality is a funny word. With an infinite amount of universes, not just anything, but everything is happening all at once. What comes through that rift is random chance. It just so happens that today, of all days, the rift opened up to a dimension that happened to be almost entirely populated by ducks. It exists because everything does.
So at any point, the rift could open and thousands of diamonds could fall out?
Yes, but it's important to remember, dear, that because there are infinite universes and because the rift opens at random intervals, to calculate any kind of measured probability isn't even worth considering, darling.
And you can take her word for that. We tried.
Oh, yes. That was a wasted few years, wasn't it, Dorian?
Ow! You little menace! I think that was the same one trying to get revenge. Stop trying to get revenge!
Is it just me, or are these little ducks more bloodthirsty than the ones here on Earth?
It's not just you.
How many are there? I think there are more in this room than there were 5 minutes ago.
There are definitely more.
Oh, Randus, you're bleeding!
I'm fine. It's fine. I grew up next to a farm. It's not my first fight with a duck, and it's not my first fight with a duck that I lost.
You lost a duck?
No, I lost the fight with the duck. It bested me, and it's in here in the house, gloating, I think. I see some in a circle. I think they're planning an attack. Oh, geez, I got a bad feeling about this.
We appreciate the effort, Randus.
Thanks, Thomas. Are you staying for tea with the council?
Why do you ask?
I just seen how many places I need to set.
Yes, how's that coming along, Randis?
Not good, Mr. Watts, not good. A lot of China's been broken.
Oh no! Gulang again!
No, I mean cups and saucers. I understand the confusion, though. Ow! Telephone, I'll get it.
Should we try the portal again?
Not unless you're willing to manhandle a duck, Mr. Pruitt.
I'd rather not, Mr. Watts. After seeing your attempt and the state of your suit jacket.
What do you mean my suit? How are they this destructive?
Hey, Dorian! Phone for you.
Hello,
Mr. Watts,
Miss Volts.
I'm calling to inform you to set an extra place. I'm bringing my trusted assistant with me, Mr. Victor Bateman.
What does she want?
She's bringing her assistant, a man called Victor Bateman.
Victor Bateman? Oh, did you hear that, Thomas?
What's that?
Gloria Volts is bringing her assistant, Victor Bateman, to the house. Don't you see? Dorian Watts, Victoria Bates, Gloria Volts, Victor Bateman. I have a gender-swapped counterpart as well.
Is Miss Bates calling us similar again?
Unfortunately, yes. She and I are nothing alike, Miss Bates, for the last time.
What was that?
What was what?
That sound.
What sound?
The duck sound.
Yes, Randis is preparing some duck pate for tea.
From a live duck?
Mrs. Volts, I know it may seem alien to your uncultured mind, but at the Watts Castle, all of our food is made from scratch, unlike food made at an automat.
This won't end well for you, Mr. Watts. You and Miss Bates are simply stalling. And that duck hardly sounds dead enough for pate.
Miss Volts, I would thank you not to criticize my butler's methods and levels of competency. I assure you he knows what he's doing. Good day.
Hey, Dorian, I think this duck wants a rematch. Oh!
What are we going to do? Ow!
We have to do something before too many of them make it into the city. They may kill someone.
And this week was going so well.
What?
I said that this week was going so well.
The ducks are too loud. I can't hear either of you.
What was that, Victoria? I can't hear you because of the overabundance of ducks.
Everyone into the closet.
What do you want to deposit?
The closet. Into the closet now.
Oh, Dorian, your breath is awful.
What are we going to do about this?
We've tried the two things you have. How do you get rid of massive amounts of ducks?
We have more than two things.
I'd hate to kill them, but...
We can't do that.
Why not?
They're not malicious. Life is a sacred thing, and when it's an innocent life... No. I'll eat meat for sustenance, but I oppose the senseless killing of multiple animals who don't pose a threat.
I think there's a gang of ducks out there literally threatening Randis right now.
Stay back! Stay back! You can have it. You can take my wallet. Fine.
Dorian, they may have shown aggressive tendencies, but that doesn't make them fully aggressive. Oh dear, they're ganging up on Chachu. Oh, the poor thing.
Imagine. If they've done this within a few hours, imagine the havoc they'd wreak within a month. Society would crumble.
Fine, we're in agreement. They're malicious. How are we gonna kill them? Poison some bread?
Actually, you're not meant to feed bread to ducks. It has no nutritional value to them. It causes birth deformities and hurts their little tummies.
So, should we just feed them bread then?
Too messy.
Dorian, there are thousands of ducks on our property. It's already messy.
I'd prefer to get it over and done with more quickly. Why don't we mix the rat poison in the cellar with our wheat reserves that we just so happen to have? Mr. Pruitt, can you assist Randis in doing that?
Oh, God.
Fine, if you're so squeamish. Victoria?
I suppose.
Thank you. In that case, Mr. Pruitt, can you assist me in the laboratory where I have to find a way to close off a link to the ducks dimension?
You've had a ray this whole time?
No, I just thought of it a few seconds ago. Victoria and I are geniuses, Thomas. Please try to remember that.
Fine. Let's just get this over with. I assisted Mr. Watts in the laboratory while Miss Bates and Randis mixed rat poison into their wheat supply that they just so happened to have. They put it into their grass seed distributor and sprayed the wheat all over the population of ducks. Soon, they all started to drop, but before we could do anything, 2 black cars pulled up.
What in the name of Sam Hill happened here?
Welcome. Welcome to our little castle. Oops. Our butler was delayed by an urgent matter, but we should have tea ready for you lovely soon.
Please, don't mind the mess.
The mess? The ground is coated in dead ducks. I never imagined I'd even see anything like this. How does this happen?
Well, Mr. Watts, it appears tea is off. I take it that construction is to commence next week, Councilman Gunhill?
I'm sorry. Are you seeing what I see? There are literally thousands of dead ducks all around this property. There's obviously something seriously wrong with this place. There's not going to be any restaurant establishment built within half a mile.
Well, Mr. Watts, you may have won this round, but mark my words, I'll see you foiled yet.
Miss Volt, everything you are is vile. I don't know how anyone could stand to be around a person like you, but I pity anyone who's forced to.
I extend the same character assessment to you, Mr. Watts. Your personality is so far from anything likable. It needs to pay long distance to reach it.
That was weak.
You're weak. Come along, Victor. There's nothing for us here.
Oh, is that Victor Bateman? Oh, I'm Victoria Bates. I'm absolutely charmed to meet your acquaintance.
Hi, I'm Vic.
No, never mind.
Come on, Miss Volz. I hate my job.
So, no more ducks?
No more ducks. I created a temporary knot in the rift in our location. Once it eventually unties itself, the chances it'll be to the evil duck dimension again are even slimmer than before.
Which were astronomically slim already.
So we should be fine.
And Mr. Pruitt was a rather competent assistant in the laboratory. Not bad for an amateur in interdimensional engineering.
Thomas Pruitt, writer for the Society pages, and amateur interdimensional engineer. Not a bad title.
It suits you beautifully, Thomas. Now, what do you say we get dressed for the opera? We wouldn't want to miss it.
Oh, I forgot about that. What are we going to do about the, dead ducks?
Are you whispering so they can't hear you?
We'll clean it up, eventually.
I've got to admit, mixing reet and rat poison was surprisingly effective.
Yes, as a solution, it certainly fit the bill.
I don't get it.
Secrets from the Rift star Dominic G. Martin, Katie Benninger, Jules Starn, and Emma Morrow. Story by Jules Starn and Bonnie O'Toole. Radio script by Jules Starn. Original soundtrack composed by Katie Benninger. And remember, from all of us at Starlight Infinity Theater, don't pick your nose. Good night.